is Aaron, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself before we get started. I went from rapping on tracks, so that is me on the bottom with my radio named Marquise. She's beautiful, 10D batteries, gorgeous. I went from rapping on tracks to working on tracks, 10 years with a pension in the MTA. Hold on. The MTA, I was a slave for the man. That don't deserve applause. I went from rapping to working to JavaScript awesomeness. Now that, come on, nerd credentials. You know what I'm saying? So for all my nerds and my nerdettes, I used to go by Quest the Wordsmith, and now I like to go by the Codesmith with a Q. You know, a little reminiscence from my, my life back on the mic days. componentDidGenerate, that is not a life cycle. That's just a weird catchphrase to say that I built my own Create React app. And let me talk about Create React app real quick. Pretty much everybody has used Create React app. It's simple. With one swipe of the, I don't know, your fingertips, you can spin up a whole new React app. You get up and running very quickly, and it abstracts a lot of the nonsense that's going on under the hood. So you could just focus on building what it is you're trying to build. And it's React, so I mean, there's that. But I had a few cons with it on my own personal projects, and the major one was it doesn't come with Sass built in. And it was just annoying for me to constantly shim in Sass all the time. And then once I got used to shimming in Sass all the time, then I had to also add Redux. And for most apps, at least on the side, you know, I was throwing in Redux and doing my thing. So there was no backend attached to it. And what I mean is generating an app didn't come with a backend already pre-built, ready to roll. So those were the things. And one of the pros, which was it abstracted a lot of stuff away from you, in the long run became a con for me, because magic is fun until I want to know how. And I'm curious, so I don't want you to do something for me. I want to do it myself. Or at least I want to know how you're doing your magic, because at the end of the day, it's all JavaScript anyway. So if somebody else could do it, then why can't I? So I like building my own tools. So I resonate with that. And this was, don't hate me, but I don't like using Yarn. I never felt the need to use Yarn. I don't care if it takes a second and a half faster than installing. I'm not NPM installing all day long. I'm writing code. So, plus we ran into a whole bunch of mess of issues with Yarn, and I had no idea, and I had to ask him, and I don't like asking him, so you know. But introducing Create New App. It's italicized, which means I did it. All right. So what I set forth to do was build my own React app generator. And I wanted to keep it, I was heavily inspired by Create React app, right? So it had to stay simple, command, 1, 2, 3, generate an app. I definitely wanted to include Sass, because I wasn't going through that song and dance all the time. It can include Redux optionally, a whole bunch of other stuff optionally, Express, MongoDB, so you can generate one little command, very simple, and we'll go through it in a minute. And you can have a whole backend with Mongo ready to go. You got to fill in the blanks, you know, make your own endpoints, et cetera, but it's all set up for you. And it uses Webpack 4. I kind of got like a little OCD where, you know, I'm just getting used to Webpack 3 and all of its mystery, and then they go and release 4. And I'm like, well, I have to use it. There's no good reason to use it, but I have to use it because it's out there. And then to use Webpack 4, then I had to use all the scope new Babel packages. So, but anyway, so I could, you know, do one of these and be like, yeah, it's using Webpack 4, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So anyway. Oh yeah, I already said it uses the latest scoped Babel packages. So I don't know if you know, but they just consolidated to a monorepo, which is nice. So everything on NPM is at Babel / and then your plugin, whatever you're using. And it uses NPM. Good old vanilla has grown so much NPM. And for me, it was important. I didn't want to, well, I don't even know how to make and generator eject. So mine doesn't. The Webpack file has tons of, that it generates, has tons of comments. There are tons of comments through everything that this thing generates because I feel like sometimes I'm a goldfish. You know, I learned something, it's great, and then 7 seconds later, I don't know what I just did. So I gotta leave breadcrumbs for myself all throughout everything, and so the code that it generates has those comments and breadcrumbs, so it's also a good tool to learn off of. All right, so what was my inspiration? Create React app. That was 99% of the inspiration that I had, and then a variety of shell scripts, which, man, I got lost in Google hell trying to understand how to write bash scripts. I will never do that again in my life. I'm not that smart. All right, so what was the motivation? I wanted to spin up apps really quickly for my own projects. So I didn't have to shim in all those other things. It included all the toys that I was playing with: Sass, Redux, Express, MongoDB, and those things were optional. It can look just like Create React App, where it's just vanilla React, or a combo of all the other things. I really wanted to learn Webpack. I felt like Webpack was this mysterious, oh my God, I don't know what this is doing. Only the elite, you know, those smart people over there know what the heck they're doing with Webpack. And so I was determined. So I literally went every single option in Webpack. I went through their documentation. I included what I needed to make this stuff, and the rest I at least looked at. So now I got a nice, sexy Webpack file with all of the goodness and all of those breadcrumbs with links to all of the stuff so you could see it too. And then probably the biggest reason why I did this is because I can. Well, now I can say I can because I did, but I thought I could, so I tried, and it worked. You know what I'm saying? So reinventing the wheel is the only way I know how to really get under the hood and learn something. So it's a fantastic experience. So let's look at how you use this really cool, my baby, Create New App. Very simple. You install it globally, the same way you install Create React App, and it's called Create New App, right? npmi-g, blah, blah, blah. And then to run it, you can type Create New App out, but it also has an alias for CNA. So CNA, your app name. It's exactly like Create React App. Same thing, right? And it will spin up a new vanilla React app for you. Or I threw in a little guided process, which we'll see in 2 seconds. Because I thought, well, maybe it's just easier, more user-friendly, and what the hell? I'm going to dive into async await and all sorts of node modules anyway. More learning. So if you just type CNA, it will then prompt you and ask you up to 4 questions and build your app. Okay? So here's an example. Fancy usage, CNA, my cool app, we're going to include Redux and Express. And bam, you'll have Redux in there, Express. Sets up all the folders for you. It's got the actions folders. It's got reducers. Really super fancy. I don't expect anybody to do this, but I'm proud that you can do this because it's, well, it looks cool on a slide at a React talk. Anyway, so there's so many options that you can tell what email. It will fill out all those packaged JSON entries. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. So just look at the repo. But we're going to get into this. So under the hood, I want to highlight a few things that I think are worth sharing from my learning process. This project only has 4 dependencies. The first one is a package called commands. If you have tried your hand at parsing arguments from the command line, you will know that you have to take care. You have to take care. How do I know if the user entered multiple arguments for one flag? Things like that. So this is one package that I found that does it very well. Command line args helps you in a nice, sexy way just deal with command line arguments in Node. Okay, the next one. This one's cool. Validate npm package name. It validates npm package names. So it makes sure that the package name is valid for npm. Cool? All right. The third one, you really don't need it, but man, does it look real cool. If you got colors in the console, it's like, man, this is official. So Chalk. Chalk lets you put colors in your console, and I think that's cool. And then the last one is, you don't need this either, but it makes dealing with the file system in Node much easier. Node comes built in with the FS module for file system. FS Extra includes everything vanilla Node out the box, plus a bunch of stuff that you're going to need to use anyway, or you're going to write your own functions. I learned the hard way because I started writing my own functions. I felt really good about it, and then I realized I could just cut out like 300 lines of code with that. So those are the dependencies. So if you're interested in building a command line app, you might want to look into these dependencies. Another thing that I want to highlight is a built-in module in Node called readline. This is how you prompt the user with a question or whatever where they need to type a response. This is how you do it. The code is right there, but we won't get into it. But it's the readline module, and if you wrap the whole thing in like a promisey function or an async function, then you can do cool stuff with async await, which the program will just wait until the user has entered something to continue. And then this one, man, this was so simple when I finally figured out how to do it, but this was the magic. I wanted to know, how do you make something executable? You know what I'm saying? How do I install something globally where I type my command and it works, like it does the thing? And I thought this was going to be like brain surgery. There's only two things you need. Whatever your main entry file is, throw, what do you call this? A hash bang? Shebang? Shebang, shebang. Throw that at the top of the file, the environment, bin, environment, whatever, node, and then you combine that with a bin property in your package JSON, and bam, now you can make executable stubs. I can't believe it was that simple, that even a caveman could do it. So I wanted to share that with you guys because that took me a while to find, and when it was so simple, I was very excited. Anyway, okay, so before we get to the conclusion, let me show you how this thing works. Okay, so we have a new command. We got a new prompt, and I'm going to take you through the curated, where it asks you the questions. And I'll just type CNA, very simple, and I hit enter. And as you can, I hope you can see, it says, enter a name for your app. So on the spot, because we're doing this on the spot. Okay. Okay, so now, would you like to include Redux? Why, indeed I would. And so I'm going to hit yes and hit enter. Oh man, I forgot to tell you guys. Yeah, I might be a little biased, but do you want to include Redux first router? Don't hate me. React Router is very pretty and well supported. He doesn't like Redux first router, but it's really cool. But you could just hit no. How about we hit no? All right, we won't complicate life. We're going to hit no. All right. Would you like to include an Express server? Why, I think I want a backend for my application. I'm going to say yes. And you know what? I'm going to need some persistence. And because I like to write JavaScript up and down the stack, I'm going to choose MongoDB. So, bam. All right, so now this thing is, oh yeah, there's no internet. I forgot to tether. Well, nonetheless, it would have spun up. Well, you see, it tried to install the dependencies, so at least, you know, you got to give me props on that. All right, we'll go back to the conclusion. So in conclusion, you can create a command line application with just a few packages, right? We all learned that. Async await plus that readline package is guided goodness. That's how I made that curated, hey, ask me one question after the other. And create a new app is a command line tool for generating React apps with a couple of goodies, namely Sass, Redux, Express, and MongoDB. Reinventing the wheel, I feel, is one of the best ways to learn, even if you don't use it. But I figured, well, you know, GitHub is free, and so I'm throwing it out there for free, and I got the name on NPM, so hashtag why not. But one other cool thing I want to show you, and this I promise, and I'm done. If you do create new app, and you do -- sandbox, Do you know how many times I needed to just have a simple index.html file with a styles.css and like a main.js? Well, bam, it just made it. That's it. It just makes those three files. Oops, I forgot to do my thing. You shut up. Just do it. OK, and so it created a new sandbox app in just do it, right? And so if we look at the files, you'll see there's just the 3 files. So I usually do that sandboxing just to test something real quick, or I just want an environment where I could write my function and see if it works in the browser, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is my talk. Try out Create New App. I'm not trying to encroach on Create React App. If anything, they were my inspiration, and this was an amazing learning process. So hopefully you might find it useful for yourself as well. All right. Huh?